Financially raw, real, authentic wisdom with Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy.
So it's coming up to the end of the year.
Yes.
You've got the last Financial Freedom Forum coming up.
Yes.
That's on the 1st of December, and this one's at Centurion again.
Centurion at Momentum Head Office, 268
Awesome.
West Avenue. I think it's the right one.
Okay, so that's on a Saturday.
Yes.
It's pretty much sort of an 8 till...
It's 8:30 for 9 o'clock, up to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock we're finished.
Okay, so Lourens was telling me off air that I need to send my husband.
You need to come to the forum.
So why? What does this forum do?
It just, I have so many people that come there and their whole relationship to their money changes because they start looking at it differently. And it just gives them that feeling of, listen, there is a way for me to take control. There is a way for me to do this without having to change everything about my life. So just from that perspective, it changes people's relationships. And then just the practical things that you learn. That you can walk out and that next day you can start implementing it, and in the next week you can see improvement. And that's what I like about the forum. I've been to lots of conferences and a lot of it is, I call it spook awesome motivation. They give you cotton candy motivation. So you go out and it's rah, 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 and you walk out and then you don't know exactly what to do next.
do.
I don't know why I'm so excited. Feel so
Now you wanna
motivated.
go.
Yeah.
So then a week later, all that motivation is gone.
That's it. You have to keep it going.
Yes.
So how do you guys at Retire Rich and Happy do that?
So it is all about giving people things that they can actually go and implement, simple things that they can do, because it's about getting that small successes, doing something, seeing the result, because that creates lasting motivation.
We have received so many messages over the last few months of people that have been to the
Yes.
Financial Freedom Forum, and everybody just says this is something you have to go to, and it's free. So all you have to
free.
do is actually book your seat.
Yes,
So
on
go to
Quicket.
Quicket, book your seat, Financial Freedom Forum. We are giving away some VIP tickets today.
Yes.
So the VIP ticket means you get all the online tools.
All the tools, you get lunch with me, and you get some time before the forum to chat with me as well.
Okay, fantastic. So all you have to do is SMS RRH and your name to 33903. That is Retire Rich and Happy's SMS number, 33903. Also, Lourens is being amazing and giving away 3 45-minute consultations as
So
well.
that will go with the VIP tickets.
Okay,
so those
fantastic.
3 people get the consultation plus the VIP tickets.
Okay, that's wonderful. 33903 RRH and your name. Okay, so really cool thing that we're chatting about today. Interesting facts about finance.
Yes, just things that people don't always know. So I thought this morning, let me talk a little bit about things that's just fun to know and interesting to know instead of going all serious, although there is a few serious things in here as well. So the first thing I thought about talking about a little bit is gambling. People playing the lotto and people going to the casinos and everything. So here's an interesting fact. 5% of people that buy lottery tickets buy 51% of all lottery tickets. So there's a few people that buy, lots of people that buy 1 or 2, and then most people buy a lot. So 5% of people spend so much money on lottery tickets. And here's a more interesting fact. You are 3 times more likely to die en route in your car to go buy the ticket than you are to win the lottery. 3 times more.
No.
I wonder if that's why they allow you to buy it on your online banking now.
Yeah, I think so.
That's insane.
Yeah. So the next one is gambling in South Africa creates more revenue than movies, gaming, music, and sport combined. Last year, it was over 30 billion rand that was spent on gambling in South Africa. So it's gambling, it's movies, gaming, music, and sport. Going to watch the rugby combined. People spending on gambling. So we live in a society where we want that instant gratification.
Yes.
We want to go and win something, that excitement, and casinos won't be that wealthy if you won more than they won. So they never lose.
They never do.
Yeah. Then a little bit about money and banking. Just an interesting fact. In the US, every year they print more monopoly money than they print real money in the US. So more monopoly money is being printed than real money. About $50 billion worth of monopoly money. And in the US, they only print about $1.3 billion new money every year.
So would that sort of go with the growth because the rest will sort of be circulated?
Yes, so it's circulating. That's the money that comes out of the system that gets replaced in the system. And there's another interesting fact. Only 8% of the world's currency in circulation is actually physical money.
This
Only
is always
8%.
clever. This is just it's mind-boggling.
So all the money that are in the banks doesn't actually exist as physical money, only 8%. And that's why banks are very concerned when a bank run happens. Because when people get scared, they want to get their cash out because they want to feel it. They want to see, I've got my money. And if everybody goes to the bank and say, give us our money, the banks don't have the money. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. This is one day we're going to go into what money actually is.
Yes.
Financially raw, real, authentic wisdom with Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy.
Financially raw. This really is financially raw today. Some amazing, interesting facts about finance with Lourens from Retire Rich and Happy. Tash says, if money doesn't exist, why are so many people dependent on it? Why can we not go back to the old trading for goods days? Yeah. Because it just now is. You can't go back.
Yes.
So what was that fact? Only 8%?
8% of the world currency is physical money. The other 92% is somewhere in a computer in bits and bytes and whatever.
Okay, but you've got quite a few.
Yes. Okay. So
other facts
here's
for us.
some good news for everybody. If you have 100 rand in your bank and you have no debt, you are wealthier than 20% of the population in South Africa with 100 rand in your bank and no debt. Because more than 20% of South Africans have a negative asset value, which means their debt is higher than their assets, which means if you have no debt and you have 100 rand, you're better off than 20% of the people. Yeah. Then, question, I don't know if you guys know this, when South Africa started using the rand as a currency, we tend to think that it was years and years and years ago, and it's actually only 1961. We converted from pounds to rand in 1961.
When you became a republic?
Oh, we became a republic.
1961, 1910 was the union.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was in school too long ago. Okay. And here's an interesting fact. From 1961 to 1982, the rand was stronger than the US dollar.
And I think at one stage it was stronger than the pound as well.
Yes.
I remember my folks telling me that, yeah.
So that's quite
Seems
an
like
interesting...
Long
so
gone are those days.
Yeah, it's before all of us. Then a little bit of interesting information about debt. Consumer debt in South Africa is currently sitting at 1.6 trillion rand. That is the amount of money we owe as a population. Now, the interesting fact with that is not just to put 1.6 trillion in perspective, is SARS, their target or what they're estimating they're going to collect as income tax this year is 1.2 trillion. So we owe 400 billion rand more than we are paying SARS, paying tax. So it is a huge amount of consumer debt. We are in deep, deep trouble in South Africa with consumer debt. We have to get out of it. Okay, then 72% of South African income pays for debt. So on average, 72% of people's income it goes towards paying debt. That means
But
people
this is
live on
similar
80.
in the US, isn't it?
We are one of the most indebted countries in the world, but the US is not far behind. They also credit cards. There was a point in the US where you didn't even have to prove your income to apply for credit. They weren't allowed to ask you to prove that what you put on the application form is actually your real income. So you could put on, I'm earning $100,000 a month, and they had to accept it.
But I remember
Catch me
also
if you
long
can.
ago when I was growing up, to get a bond, I mean, it was much easier. Yeah.
The
than it is
National
now,
Credit Act came in and it did make it a lot more difficult because it put some emphasis on the credit givers to give responsible credit because of the, what do they call it? Reckless lending.
Yeah.
So if a bank gives you money that you can't afford to pay back, you can actually go and get that debt written off if it was reckless lending.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, just a little bit of information on tax. In South Africa, we have 33 million eligible taxpayers, people that are of age that are supposed to pay tax. From that, only 10%, 3.3 million people in South Africa, pays 93% of the tax in South Africa. So 10% pays 93% of the tax, which is mostly the middle class. And that's one of the reasons we teach people that you have to become an entrepreneur. You must start generating multiple sources of income because it does create tax benefits for you if you do that. Last couple of things. Cryptocurrency. Everybody's heard of Bitcoin. So this gets into the interesting side again. So everybody's heard of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was founded by Satoshi Nakamoto. The interesting thing about it is no one knows who he is. Till today, he's a ghost. Nobody knows who he is. They're saying that he owns about 980 billion rands worth of Bitcoin currently. Nobody knows who he is. So if anybody can find him, please let me know.
I'd like some money back, please.
And then another interesting one. In 2010, a person, I can't remember his name, he bought the most expensive pizza in the history of the world. He bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. Now, in today's value of Bitcoin, that is the equivalent of about 908 million rand for 2
We actually did
pizzas.
that for News of the Stupid.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
908 million rand.
I hope it was a good pizza. At least it had to at least be wood-fired. I hope it wasn't one of those little machine jobbies.
Yes, that's crazy.
Oh my God.
And then the last one. There's currently, we all know about Bitcoin. Some people know about Ethereum. There's currently, as it is now, over 1,500 different cryptocurrencies available.
Oh, really? So
Already.
it's not just Bitcoin.
It's not just Bitcoin.
Waste
But
your
now
money
you
in
know-
1,500
but
different
the thing
ways.
is, if only 8% of the money in the world is actually actual money, then Bitcoin seems more feasible in my brain.
Well,
It's technically...
the blockchain technology that drives cryptocurrency is actually where the value lies. It doesn't really lie in the cryptocurrency itself. It lies in the blockchain technology. And that's something we can talk about one time on a session as well.
Very interesting stuff.
If you're going to go buy
Thank
some
you for
things
that.
off the dark web and you don't want them to know where the money came
Yes.
from, you don't want to be able to trace
Can't be
you.
tra- If you open your wallet online for Bitcoin and you forget your code, you can never ever recover that money. It's gone. You only have that code once. You can't go find my password or remind me or something.
That's
It's
it.
gone. It's gone.
Get a
You
tattoo.
can't
Don't,
get
don't
it.
write it on your hand. No. Interesting facts about finance from Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy. If you would like one of those VIP tickets plus a 45-minute free consultation, SMS RRH and your name to 33903. Lourens, it's been a pleasure as
Just
always.
before I go, just to remind the listeners, I am on What's Involved on
yes,
5 o'clock on Monday. I think it's 5 o'clock.
Mr. David Watts. I think
Yes.
it's 6.
6.
6 on Monday. So that's the 12th this Monday coming
Yes.
up. Fantastic. You're going to have a lot of fun with David. So
Lot of
that's
fun.
What's Involved on Monday. The 12th this Monday coming up, 6 o'clock. And then you'll be back with us on Tuesday.
Yes. See you on Tuesday.
Awesome.
Financially raw, real, authentic wisdom with Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy.